Welcome to BodyWork.
Please fasten your seatbelts.
I had 11 Olympians and over 800 national champs. And all those men, they wouldn't do half the work that she do. And I'm seeing it from the young ladies. These last 2 years, when you think about it, all the good fights is coming from the women. The guys is ducking each other, looking for the easy way. Hey. I'm telling you like it is, you know? So again, you know, this young lady done did everything I asked of her, and she did more. And I'm watching all the young ladies that's boxing now. It's like they trying to prove they better than men. Now, we knew they was kind of there, but now they showing that they mean. You know, in old days in Philly, we call these guys crazy. And that's the way these women are. So when you go back home, speak nice to your lady.
Welcome to BodyWork. Welcome back. It's Michael Rogers. Welcome to BodyWork Boxing. Man, I just wanted to get on for a few, man. I know it's late, man. It's for the night owls, the hardcores. You know, people that got a lot of things swirling around in their minds, man. We got so much to talk about, don't we? Man, I'm just seeing all the hype around. You got Deontay Wilder. You got Clarissa Shields. You got Savannah Marshall. You got Michaela Meyer. You got Alicia Baumgartner. You got Gary Antonio. You got Caleb Plant and Durrell. Man, we got a lot of fights to look forward to. Robert Helenius. You know, is it real? Is it really real? Is it real? Oh, man. I'm tripping. No, I'm not. Say the best for last. Devin Haney versus George Kambosos. Watched the press conference, man, and I'm like, George is doing a good job at making it seem like he's focused. You know, I'm like, all he had to do was like do it one more again, and he walked away with all the belts. And I found it very interesting that Paulie Malignaggi brought up what Devin said. He said he would never let a white boy beat him. And Paulie Malignaggi said that he think that Devin Haney is going up to 140 to avoid fighting Loma because that was the white boy that could have did it. Man, that was a bold statement coming from a guy like Paulie. But I could imagine to think that, man, I think when that clip started rolling, when Devin said that back then, and, you know, as times changed, because back then he wasn't with Bob at that point in time. You know, he was with ADT. I mean, he was with the Zone. I'm sorry. He was with the Zone that I call him ADT. But at the time when he said it, he wasn't with Bob. But I guess, you know, maybe that thing resurfaced and, you know, he got to thinking about that statement, and you know, you'll never let a white boy beat you. And Bob was like, hold my beer. He gave him Kambosos twice and tried to put Loma up there. And I think, shoot, if he would have went straight to 140 and it was no Jack Catterall, they probably would have threw Josh Taylor in there, man. These are just boxing facts and boxing history, man. This is what was really going on. Contrary to popular belief, man, I want to take a time out because it's something I wanted to do for a while now, because I've been doing my boxers to watch collection. And I got a collection called the League of Shadows. Gary Antonio Russell is in the League of Shadows. I call him the combination god. He put on one of the most devastating combinations I have ever seen put in the work. And this week, I actually saw a clip on him, you know, on the gram, and he showed when he was younger, and he put on a combination, like I think it was a 3-piece, but to change the direction and the viciousness of the hooks. That's one thing about the Russells, man. When they come with them hooks, they are committed. You know what I'm saying? You got to have a chin, and if they catch you right, my goodness, it might be a wrap for real. You got to have a beard to survive it, but I'm checking for him, man. I think he's the one brother that people don't really mention. And salute to Mr. Gary Russell for actually taking the reins over for their pops. You know, salute to Gary Antoine for, you know, really being a big force now to be reckoned with at 140. You know, that's a sliver of the pie at 140. Talking about Mr. Gary Antoine Russell. I've been seeing Regis. I seen the Regis press conference, and him and Zepeda kept talking about the, can I say, iconicness of that fight is that the number 1 140 pounder is going to go against the number 2 ranked 140 pounder. So that truly is the battle of supremacy. If you think about it, I mean, I think in a lot of people's minds, I think Jose Zepeda is an afterthought when you talk about 140. I think so. You know, but he has shown that he is a student of the game. He does have a skill set. He can, you know, be poised. He can, you know, get the job done in devastating fashion. You know, they both spoke, you know, very highly of each other. I know Regis in the past says that he always had disdain for his opponents. He just look at him like, you know, he had a habit of like looking at him like, man, I got this. Like he really looking at the next one. But I think Regis really been chomping at the bit, man. I seen this man training. He always talking about training. He traveling, but he's always staying back in that gym. You know, I seen him with the ropes, doing squats and getting them arms right and working out. You know what I'm saying? So, man, 140. We also got Richardson Hitchens. He just signed with Matchroom. You know, he's starting to, you know, he branched out, a very pure, skilled boxer. You know, he looks sharper and sharper every time I see him. I see that he getting ready to go for the IBF. So I'm thinking, man, you still got, you know, the Brandon Lee. You got the, you know, Rancis Bartholomew. You know, he just, you know, had a little, you know, run in with the butcher, Gary Antoine. And salute to Miss Tahara Du. Peace and blessing to you. I see you putting in work. You know, I do that body work. Salute. Thanks for coming in. I appreciate it. But you had Brandon Lee. You know, he faced adversity. I talked about Richardson Hitchens. I talked about Gary Antoine. I say all that to say that the only one that can stop all of that is the ferocious one. George Kambosos, man. George Kambosos. You know, I did some number crunching and I put out a video. I don't know if a lot of people saw it, you know, but we always throw around the word master class when we talk about boxing, right? And when I did the numbers, man, I saw that out of total punches, Devin Haney landed 25% of his total punches. So out of 588 punches, he landed a quarter of them. Guess what? Kambosos, with way less activity, landed at 24%. So who's more accurate? Who's more accurate? Because we get blind and people always say, oh, you're hating. It's like, what is there to hate? Everybody saw the fight. You know, it was a dominant performance. George Kambosos made no problems with trying to defend anything. He said, yeah, I'm going to let the pass be the pass. He was like, yep, he out-jabbed me. I didn't have answers for the jab. You know, he refused to give away his game plan, a la the Art of War. And in all honesty, man, really what happened yesterday doesn't really matter. Because right as it stands right now, the last time I checked, because it changes from week to week to week, the last time I checked, Devin Haney was going to 140. There would be no Loma. Oscar the Grouch, you know, the company man came out and said that he pretty much said information that if he was not on a payroll, he could actually be sued for. He came out and said that Devin Haney is going to 140. You know, who am I? That's what he said. So I'm thinking that there are some true killers up there at 140. But before we put the cart before the horse, there is George Kambosos, who, in my number crunching, discovered that in that very fight that was master class, we saw George Kambosos actually outland Devin Haney in power punches. And then power punches to the body, 10 times the amount more. So everybody say, oh, dominant and this and the best, and you can say what you want because he rose to the top and all that glowing stuff. He gets credit for becoming undisputed. But remember, because I had to sit back and actually look, not that I didn't know Bud's resume, I knew it. I just got off of it because a lot of the conversation surrounding by Bud was actually engaging with the Bud only fans who were just hating on Spence. Had nothing to do with Bud. So I took a woosah, you know what I'm saying? I'm still man down, but I respect Bud, and I know that he is a closer. You know, and I used to give Bud a hard time, you know, about the resume and this and that. And I looked and I said, well, when they talk, the same people that advocate and put on the pom-poms and wave the flag for Devin are the same people that utterly take a on Bud. And they talk about, well, if he was to go in the Hall of Fame tomorrow, who is he going to be known for beating or have beaten? And at 140, they always talk about the names. The Ndongos. You know, Mr. Haradu, my stance is F, but yeah, I mean, let me I don't like the activity outside the ring. I don't know everything. As far as the big picture and the moves, I had got to that point. That's why I say I had to come back and do a woo-saw. Take a couple of deep breaths and look at this thing like, hey, he is the second half to the biggest fight. Does he deserve half and all that? Who am I to tell somebody their worth? I just know that Earl been putting in work. He became a draw, and I didn't like the fact that I felt like Bud was trying to hold up EJ going for undisputed more than he actually wanted to become undisputed at 47. That's my stance. So at a point in time, I was like, man, why would you do that? Because my whole point was when you was down there at 140, who made it a hard time for you to consolidate all of the belts? Who gave you who was your last? Did your last guy or did your last guy come on in? And then even when you moved up, did they give you a hard time with making the fight? No, everything was pretty much smooth. I don't know who stood in the way, but I think for us to do that to each other, like for Bud to do that to Earl, knowing that, hey man, I mean, it's one thing to feel like you win, but try to stop a man from trying to do it, and then everybody else is held up behind it. I say all that to say this. His run, when he became undisputed, compared to what Devin's doing at 35, which is a weight class lower, it what does it say? Santiago, what? Mason Menard, what? Kambosos twice. JoJo Diaz is a good one. JoJo Diaz is a legit one, but we got to remember that he did come up, just like they say Leo Santa Cruz, and he came up or whatever, and then they knocked Barrios for, you know, not being a real champion, what they say, but all these caveats. But we got to understand that JoJo Diaz was moving up, and he already beat Gary Russell Jr., and we never got to see Devin and Gary Russell Jr. So we didn't even get the Fortuna. We didn't get the Fortuna fight because that was surgery. We got a Linares, which he overcame adversity. I think that was a part of the building. I think that was a lesson right there. I think Devin grew tremendous from that experience. So you got Kambosos, JoJo Diaz, and Linares. And then you got Gamboa, who pretty much is like one of these little scooters that you could just slide a little card in and, you know what I'm saying, down the road and then just drop it off whenever you want. That's how they've been treating them, you know what I'm saying? Coming off of a loss, getting stopped before, just like Linares, getting stopped before. Isaac Cruz stopped Gamboa after Devin. So you got Tank stopping him, and then you got Devin going 12 with him, and then you got Isaac Cruz just dismantling him, like obliterating him, like the little juggernaut that he is. But I say that to say that I don't know if that run can compare to the run that Bud had. However, George Kambosos can stop that. You know, and you know, once I heard somebody say that all Tank had against Devin Haney was a puncher's chance, I said, man, listen, if you sit around and you watch these guys, if you sit around and listen to people like that who would say anything like that, you don't need to come on this channel. You don't need to be over here. You don't like the truth. Like anybody who don't like the truth about the 24 and the 25% in total punches, anybody who don't like the truth about the 33 and the 27, like George Kambosos being 33% at power punches landed and Devin Haney being at 27% at power punches landed. Anybody who don't like those numbers, anybody who don't like it and don't agree, you don't need to be on this channel. You know, and right back in there, Mildew, you said, I think that Bud don't really want to fight. I think that I think right now I kind of think that he knows that I know that he knows this is like almost like a once in a lifetime opportunity for him. It's a once in a lifetime opportunity for him. And it's an ability to actually really try to leverage, really try to hanker on that leverage. My only solace is knowing that Earl came out and said that it's happening next. So that's why I don't give updates. I don't do all that. I read the tea leaves. Don't make really too many videos about it. Might talk about it in glancing blows. But I got out of the emotional side of it. I'm emotionally bankrupt until I know The heat is on. Until I know that it's back on again, you know what I'm saying? Hey, until I know for sure that it's back on again, I'm emotionally unavailable. Shout out to Just Do Boxing, Bodywork Boxing. Salute my boy. Yeah, man. Yeah, I'm just want to wrap up some things, man, because just had to get some things on film. I had to what they be saying, lay down a demo real quick because you know, it's a lot of things going on right now in the sport of boxing, man. I really think that people don't really realize that Kambosos can upset the apple cart. You know, I wanted to be going on record that Devin and his only fans are saying that he doesn't have to do anything in this fight but win. He don't have to make a statement. Like, so the same pressure that was on Shakur, that's not on him. The same pressure that's on Tank, since they say he never fights anybody. You know what I'm saying? Even though the anybody in Isaac Cruz will probably go upside most of these cats' chin. I don't know, but there's no pressure. I've heard that echoed. There's no pressure. He doesn't have to do anything as long as he just ease on down the yellow brick road. And then he gets to go straight to 140. He get to go straight to 140. He don't gotta face Loma. Why? You know, I'm like, because that was the reason why you got the belt in the first place. Like, I'm saying, I wanted to see Loma. Y'all was on the same side of now. Y'all on the same side of the street. You know, Loma ain't going up there to 140. You know, you already know you're not gonna be able to do business with Mayweather signed with Bob. So we ain't gonna get the Tank fight. You know, that's why I'm not emotionally invested in talking about that either. You know, I'd rather talk about them two inside the ring. And T.O.'s at 140, but we never hear you going to 140 for T.O. T.O. just, you know, signed up to fight Pedraza, which is a testament to Tank because Pedraza went 12 with Ramirez, I think in his last fight or the second to last fight. Now he about to get it on with T.O. He's still alive and kicking. Isaac Cruz still alive and kicking. Mario Barrio still alive and kicking. Rolly, to whatever extent, still relevant. All these cats are still relevant. Mind you, Devin never got the Nakatani. He never fought the Nakatani like T.O. did. He never fought the Comey like T.O. did. Like Loma did both. Like, man. So 35 was Linares, JoJo Diaz, Santiago, Kambosos, and gone. Hall of Fame going to 140. There's no call for T.O. at 140. They all on the same side of the street. So you're going to bypass Loma, go to 140 because you can't make the weight. But you could make the weight when it came to Tank. When that Tank fight was announced, you could make the weight. But now all of a sudden, oh, no. But back when T.O. was struggling, oh, that's an excuse. That's an excuse. Man. When Shakur missed weight, oh, that's an excuse. He's trying to weight bully. You know. I don't know, man. It's kind of different. It's kind of strange. I had to put this on film, man, because I didn't want to say, you know, that nobody's actually recording these things and actually analyzing these things and taking all these things in consideration when you're telling us that this is the best young fighter in the entire world. And one of the things that I saw, man, one of the things I said, look, this man, Lou DiBella, he said, man, listen, it's going to be a better venue, you know, a more intimate crowd, you know, a smaller setting. He said, in an excellent fight. And then the guy came right on after him. Guess what he said? Tickets are still available. Oh, man. He said tickets are still available. Oh, man. Tickets are still available. Man, because I remember when the 50,000 or however many it was, man, that was all Devin, man. Let his fans, man, Devin sold 50,000, you know what I'm saying? He got 2 million on ESPN. But man, this man said tickets are still available. Oh man, if Truck out there, man, if Truck is out there, let me see. If Truck is out there, man, fighting on that card, man, like I would have wanted them numbers to be better for Truck, man, because he don't get the spotlight he deserves. I haven't seen not one video about Truck, man. And I get kind of confused because I know him and Tank are their own people, but I see I hear about the affiliation. I know that one fight, you know, that dude when that dude pulled out, I know that was Devin Haney, you know, being portrayed as coming into the rescue to pay for it and all that. I know about, you know, Truck making a name for himself and building a brand and all that, you know. So I don't really know what to make of it because I never really get any information about Truck. You know, I seen him fight. You know, I know he a dangerous man. You know, I know that him and Ammo Williams, they was jaw-jacking at each other a while ago on a show. And I was like, man, that'll be a good fight, man, once as they, you know, as they build their brands and they actually come back and see, and they both still thriving. You know, I like to see Truck a whole lot more. I want to see him under the big bright lights a whole lot more. You know, I know Coach Calvin, Coach Kenny, you know, the Upton Gym, they put a lot into him, you know, but I don't really get to hear a lot about him. You know, as far as like, you know, on YouTube or, you know, media in general. So I don't really hear about him that much. But if he's out there, man, still tickets available at that venue, man. Tickets still available. For tickets still available for Haney B. Kambosos 2. Oh man, that's crazy. It's got to go on public record, man. The tickets are still available, man. That's just a big statement, man, because any other opponent, anybody on the other side, man, their reputation get trashed, man. But I guess, you know, a lot of people, man, when it comes to the fighter that they really love and respect, man, they don't really see the flaws, or they don't really see the inconsistencies in their arguments and things like that. Any one of the favorite fighters any one of my favorite fighters, or anybody that I'm checking for, or that I really, really rock with, that I probably won't bet against, you know, you can check me on anything about them. You can check me on anything about them. You know, you're not gonna catch me just ragdolling somebody. Let me see. I ain't surprised Australia don't even rock with Kambosos like that. They have zero faith in him winning, LOL. Yeah, I mean, it's not even that. It's like, man, they could have found a way to actually sell that venue out. But I'm talking about, man, think about all that stuff they were saying as far as Tank, you know what I'm saying? Because when I look at it, I'll be looking at it like, I'm not looking at it from a money standpoint. When I look at fights, I look at everything that it would take to actually have these fights be made. It's not just apple pie in the sky. I used to think like that. Even as a hardcore, even when I was considering myself a hardcore, I used to think, oh man, I just want to see that fight, and I'm just going, you know, just ram it down. But then I started saying, man, you got to look at these things responsibly. And the suits are saying, the suits have access to these numbers. The suits are looking at these numbers and saying, okay, well, you're going to ask for this and you're going to ask for that. And then, okay, well, this got you like the same thing that's probably, you know, the whole thing about Spence and Bud. The suits got to get involved, and they got to have what they want and what they need for it to make sense, for it to be comparative to what would naturally happen. As a fan, it's like we don't care about all that. We just want to see it. That's a different hat. As a fan, yes, we understood that. Have deeper dialogue about it and say that, oh, well, the suits got to be satisfied and these numbers got to make sense. So I look at it, and I look at things like this. I look at what's going on, because in the lead up, when everybody was talking about, when everybody was sitting up there talking about Tank, and they were just running a smear campaign on Tank, and they were talking about it, and he was just saying, man, like he was like, ha ha ha, you laughing and all that. It was like, realistically and logically, they look at the fact that you didn't sell out in your own backyard. But everybody on YouTube was running around talking about, oh man, all that was going on over there in Australia the last time was due to Devin Haney. That's just another one of the things that why people are probably not going to want to fight this man if this keep going on. I mean, look at what they try to do to Shakur. They try to say he wasn't black no more over a flag. Like, these are things that business-wise, with all the emotion and all the politics, I'm off that. I'm off that. We know it's politics in boxing and all that. I'm talking about the fact that they took credit for all them ticket sales. They took credit for all them ESPN numbers. And it's not to take away from Devin, but it's like, let's be realistic. That was George Kambosos' homecoming. They thought that man might really have a chance. So don't come back now, and the second time around, you done made all these fans and you the best thing since sliced bread and everybody want to see you. Even, I bet you, would it be sold out if Tank was coming over there? If Monster Inoue was over there? If Jermell Charlo went over there? Like, if Jermell Charlo decided to do that, which I don't know, I wouldn't reason why he would, but if Jermell Charlo went over there to Australia, you think that it'd be, even if it was a small event, you don't think it would be sold out? If you really that, like, I think so now, yeah. Anybody you name with, like, really with some real star power, that can go over there. I mean, that's my opinion on that. You know what I'm saying? I'm not giving no all this hype, all this promotion, because we get, man, that's all you hear. You get it shoved down your throat all the time. But somebody gotta be realistic and say, okay, man, like, settle down, lower your tone. You got paid, you get in the bag. Okay, cool. Salute. We glad you're getting taken care of, but like, we gotta stop. This has to be on record. This is just responsible journalism. I don't even care if like a half a person see this. It's just out here in the atmosphere so that somebody can actually see it one day and be like, oh, well, you know what? This guy he actually be telling the truth. It's the difference between facts and truth. Difference. He said, facts, bro. True cook. I like all the graphics in the back too. You got to show me how to do that. Oh yeah. I can show you how to do that. Let's see, flames. Yeah, man, but I mean, the landscape, man, like how everything goes, So I'm looking at 140. I don't want to cook, man, because look, I'm gonna put this in here too. Man, Devin better go over there and beat this dude. I just want a statement. Am I wrong? Because it get twisted that way. Because I gotta be like the level. I gotta be the level. You know what I'm saying? Because everybody just want to cook. Everybody just want to berate. Everybody want to just belittle. No, I come back and try to correct some of this stuff and just at least put the information out there. Whether you want to receive it, whether you believe it, because you could believe that you're gonna hit the lottery tomorrow. That don't mean that shit gonna happen. I don't try to believe with this shit. I go back and I look at the numbers. I look at the facts. You know what I'm saying? This man, say it again. Say it again. He need to make a statement, in my opinion. He need to make a statement. Like when do these standards? That's what I'll be talking about. Is like, and I'm not gonna get on with no. I'm not even gonna go I'm not even gonna go at nobody or even try to have no conversation with nobody that's out here talking about, oh man, he don't need to do this, because that means when you pride yourself on being consistent, you forgot one thing: the I and the N before it, which is inconsistent. When it comes to everybody else is held up to this standard, but when it comes to him, these standards just don't. Oh, he said he wanted to fight him on YouTube, or he said he did an interview and said he was smoking. Yeah, he did an interview and said they say everything but fight. But when we look at it at every angle, every time there was a greater opponent, we got the lesser opponent. Go back as far as you can remember. I mean, I gotta put this down. I gotta put it down going into this fight now. I give him a hard time to straight. It's really for the fans. It's like Bud. It's really for the fans to level the fans out, to stop all the nonsense with the fans. It's really not these boxers. Because for real, Dev let Bill do a whole lot of talking for him. He let that man write a whole lot of checks. You know what I'm saying? And he should. My whole thing is, how come everybody else father, from Kambosos' father to T.O. father to everybody father is whack or silly or stupid, but like none of them criticisms get, so it's just all these double standards. That's the only reason why I really even put this information out there, to kind of level the playing field, because it's saturated with bullshit for real when it come around certain fighters. It's just not true. You know what I'm saying? It could be facts. You can manipulate facts, but it's a difference between facts and the truth. So the truth is, I want Devin Haney to go over there and put on a clinic, and then I want a statement with punctuation. That's what I want. I want a statement with punctuation. That's the standard for everybody else. We're not saying we demand a knockout. We're just saying, okay, we saw you outbox the man. Go over there and stop the man. Especially if we ain't gonna get it, if you ain't gonna stay around for Shakur or Loma or Tank or Isaac Cruz or anybody down there. Yeah. And then looking forward, then okay, there are gonna be people with belts. Because Richardson Hitchison, if he do what he's supposed to do, Richardson Hitchens, Africa, if he do what he's supposed to do, he gonna have a belt. Gary Antoine, he working his way up. He right there. He gonna have a belt. And I remember when Devin Clown, Mr. Gary Russell Jr., Gary Antoine said, hey, come see me whenever you get done getting your undisputed, come see me. And they said, oh man, what does he got to offer? Wow. They said, oh man, look at these monkeys. They jumping out of trees, just going wild and doing all this stuff. Talking about, I'm like, what? Because somebody said, when you move up 5 pounds, come see me. Now that was, he got to have a belt, and if it makes sense, and it was all, I was like, oh man, this is going to be the path laid out. They already making excuses for everybody. I mean, I'm trying to figure out who he going to fight. Who this man going to fight at 140? He got to go over there and make a statement. He did have a dominant performance. It was 24% in punches landed, 27% in power punches. He killed the jab. Come off that jab, you know what I'm saying? Slip, dip, rip, roll, make him use his lateral movement and dictate the fight. Because he's going to try to bring war, man. That man got one last shot. So you're looking at a desperate man who's full of shame right now because he lost. I hope they treat him right. I hope everything is taken care of. I hope, they watch over the whole glove wrapping. I hope they, are good with the water. I hope that they got the diet and the food is right. He get all the rest. He's been over there. He went over there early. He's been training. They showing the power. They showed him basically cracking his trainer's ribs or something, they showing that, so man, it's showtime, man. It is showtime. It's showtime come Saturday. moving into the lady, I seen the ladies being real heated. It's a lot of little, like, man, it's a whole lot of, like, real beef between these ladies. Like, they really, really don't like each other. They really don't. So, you know, you got the women's card, you got the women's undercard with AB, Alicia Baumgartner. You got Plant Darrell. Plant saying he gonna retire Darrell. People are wondering, you know, if Anthony Darrell can, you know, unleash that power. You know, who else you got? Man, you just got some good, man. I think it's gonna be like, man, it's gonna be all day good boxing, man. It's gonna be a lot of good boxing, a lot of good things, man. Because just the week before last, we didn't have any boxing on a Saturday, and man, it was some crazy stuff happened, you know, after that, and it kind of, I guess, it kind of made a lot of people reflect and see, you know, how much they appreciated boxing. Because there was a lot of talk about, man, we don't get no boxing this week. We don't get no boxing this week. And this week, we get all of the boxing. You know, you're going to have to, you know, spend some bread. Then you got to get that main event. If you want to see the Devin Haney's, you got to get that main event. You probably can go to that video and scan that code to see that. And then you got the Deontay Wilder. You're going to have to order that, you know, if you want to see that. And speaking of Deontay Wilder, you know, I saw a lot of videos about him this week that came out about the training, you know, his training and his new regimen and the power, the explosiveness. You know, we saw the movement. We saw all of that. I saw, you know, I think I finally saw a video about Hellenius, you know, and pretty much it was being described as Hellenius knowing and understanding Deontay's punching power. And if he's able to avoid it, because Deontay Wilder's mindset has not changed. He still knows that if he can land that right hand the right way, it's good night, Irene. It's good night, Irene. You know, so I'm not sure what we're gonna get out of that fight, but the odds makers are saying that you can make a small fortune if you actually bet on Robert Hellenius to win this fight. That's what the odds make. Don't be mad at me. That's what the odds makers are saying. You can make a small fortune if you put some money down on Hellenius to win this fight, because the odds are it's not going to happen, Captain, with all due respect to Hellenius. You know, that's the blockbuster, you know, that's the blockbuster event. That's the pay-per-view. You know, I think the undercard with Plant Darrell helps bolster that. Seeing my man Gary Antonio helps bolster that as well. So, you know, it's a good, exciting weekend of boxing. And one thing I want to say, man, with all this boxing, right, that's going on, you know, it might be a chance where somebody might get knocked out, right? Somebody might get hurt. Somebody might be in a position to where their fighter is just taking on a whole lot of unnecessary punishment, right? And they're going to be forced with a decision as to whether or not they allow the boxer to go out on their shield or they throw in a towel. It's probably something that most coaches never really want to think about, but they have to think about because it's one of the necessary evils of actually being a productive coach, knowing that in the reality, somebody might actually have your fighter's number, right? We've seen coaches do it. We've seen coaches get ridiculed. It's my opinion that the boxer should always want to go out on their shield. They should never quit. Never. They should never give up. No surrender, no retreat. But it's not up to the boxer to stop themselves. If the boxer is in a predicament where they feel like I'm about to go out on my shield, it's the responsibility of the coach to stop it. What happens when that happens? What happens when the coach throws in the towel and stops a fight? What happens? The boxer is saved. The fight is stopped. Right up until that point, the damages have been mitigated, and from that point on, the healing can start taking place. That boxer can then, in turn, come back and live to fight another day. A la this weekend. What you getting on the pay-per-view card? Thanks to Mr. Mark Breland. Anyways, thanks for everybody who came in. If you came in and liked, or you might see this eventually, and you know, I welcome all feedback. All feedback. You know, and I always say, you can troll me, but you got to be telling the truth. You know what I'm talking about? Anyways, hit the subscribe button. If you don't like the truth, don't hit the subscribe button. It's simple as that. Here at BodyWork Boxing, where we don't take things for face value. We do that body work.